One of the most important things that my devotional talks about is in 1st and 2nd Peter. It talks about how we need to place our identities in Christ. And something interesting that we talked about in my small group is how we can place our identity in compliments that we've received from people. And we've all been told these like positive statements as well as negative statements that we often try to live up to. And when we don't, we feel like a failure or we feel like we're not ourselves. For example, my friend would consider herself like someone who's really good at being friends with everyone. And that's something that people tell her all the time. Like, oh, you're so bubbly, you're so joyful, like you're so good at being friends with people and you just naturally make a lot of friends. And we all have those outgoing friends that are like that. And sometimes the pressure that she puts on herself is that she needs to maintain all of those friendships and pour all of her energy and time into them. And whenever she's busy with work or other things in her life and she can't pour into those friendships, it's like she doesn't know who she is. And that's just a tendency because you're placing that identity that like, oh, I'm such a good friend to everyone. Like you're placing that identity over your identity in Christ, where that becomes something you're trying to serve more than just being a daughter of a king. And so how this kind of plays out is, like to give some context, like in Jenny Allen's book, Find Your People, it talks about how realistically we're only able to maintain 150 friendships, relationships in our life. 50 of those people we would consider our friends. 5 of those people we would consider our very close friends who are just in our inner circle. And my friend was explaining to me that sometimes it can feel like she needs those 50 to feel like the 5. Like she needs those 50 people to all feel like they're being checked in on and that she's hanging out with them all the time and pouring all this time and energy into them. And that's the pressure she's put on herself because people give her the compliment that, oh, you're such a good friend to everyone. And it's just interesting how a compliment or something that you hear all the time can then create a lie in your head that if you don't live up to this compliment, then you're not enough or you're not doing a good job. And that's just not true. And so that's why placing our identity in Christ, even over compliments, is something that's so important because even compliments can become an idol. So I don't know if this makes sense, but I just think it's really easy to take even positive things that people say to you and make that an idol in your life where you're constantly trying to live up to what other people say about you. And ultimately, we should only be living up to what Jesus says and what he calls us to do as believers.